Beneath the shimmering facade of royalty, a chilling narrative emerges. Tale of unimaginable horrors inflicted upon individuals by the King of Thailand, Rama X. Behind closed palace doors, a hidden world of forced labor, exploitation, and psychological abuse unfolds. This account delves into the haunting stories of survivors who endured the tyrant's reign of fear and control, shedding light on the profound impact of power gone awry. Brace yourself for a chilling exploitation of the harrowing truths endured by those forced and abused by the King of Thailand, unveiling the king's true face. The initial impressions of King Rama X painted a picture of a ruler dedicated to upholding the traditions of the Thai monarchy. He ascended to the throne in 2016, following the death of his revered father, King Bumipol Adoliage. The transition was met with expectations of continuity and stability, as the Thai people hoped for a continuation of the benevolent and respected reign they had known for decades. However, behind closed doors, a different side of King Rama X's character began to emerge. Testimonies from former palace staff, confidants, and even close family members started to reveal a shocking truth, a reality far removed from the pristine image projected to the public. The victims who had experienced the wrath of King Rama X spoke of a ruler who relished in the infliction of physical and psychological pain. Emotional abuse became a weapon, as he exploited his power to demean, degrade, and manipulate those around him. Countless accounts detailed instances of verbal tirades, humiliation, and psychological torture, leaving the victims shattered and scarred. The abuse was not limited to the confines of the palace walls. Reports emerged of public displays of dominance and cruelty, where the king indulged in sadistic acts that shocked and appalled even the most loyal supporters of the monarchy. The public image of a dignified and revered leader crumbled, exposing a tyrant who reveled in his control over others. These revelations sent shockwaves through Thai society. For many, it was a moment of reckoning, challenging long-held perceptions and forcing a re-evaluation of the monarch's role in modern Thailand. The stark contrast between the carefully curated public persona and the true nature of the king shattered the illusion of an infallible ruler, leaving a void of trust and stability. Yet, even as victims found the strength to share their stories, they faced a harsh reality. Speaking out against a monarch carried grave risks. The power and influence of the Thai monarchy loomed large, and anyone who dared to challenge its authority risked severe consequences, both personally and professionally. The fear of retribution stifled the voices of those who had suffered, leaving many trapped in a cycle of abuse and silence. As whispers of the king's true nature reached the international community, questions were raised about the complicity of those in power. The responsibility of the elite, who remained silent in the face of such atrocities, came under scrutiny. How could they turn a blind eye to the suffering inflicted upon their own people? The silence from the influential figures further entrenched the culture of impunity, allowing the abuse to persist. Nonetheless, as the victims' narratives began to surface, their collective voice grew. United in their quest for justice and determined to expose the truth, survivors of the king's abuse found solace in each other's stories. Through their resilience and courage, they hoped to shine a light on the darkness that had plagued their lives for far too long. In the face of such revelations, the Thai people were forced to confront an uncomfortable truth. Their revered monarch, whom they had placed on a pedestal, was capable of unspeakable cruelty. This realization sparked a deep sense of betrayal and a growing demand for accountability, challenging the notion that the monarchy was beyond reproach. As the world bore witness to the unraveling of the King of Thailand's true face, the stage was set for a battle between power and justice, with survivors leading in the charge in their pursuit of freedom and healing. A reign of fear and control. Within the confines of the palace, King Rama X wielded his power with impunity, creating an environment of fear and control. His subjects, including close aides and family members, lived under constant surveillance, aware that any misstep could result in severe consequences. Through manipulation and intimidation, the king ensured that his victims remained trapped in a cycle of abuse, unable to escape his grasp. Tales of forced labor and exploitation. Beyond the realm of emotional and psychological abuse, the King of Thailand subjected his victims to forced labor and exploitation, perpetuating a cycle of control and subjugation. The stories that emerged revealed a disturbing reality in which individuals were stripped of their autonomy and forced to endure grueling tasks and the whims of an oppressive ruler. Within the confines of the palace, a hierarchical structure enforced the king's authority, dictating the rules and responsibilities of those in his service. Palace staff, including chambermaids, butlers, and guards, became trapped in a system of forced labor. They were subject to long working hours, minimal rest, and unbearable physical demands, catering to the king's every desire. The king's demands knew no bounds. Survivors recounted tales of being at his beck and call, day and night, expected to fulfill his every whim without question or complaint. They were denied personal time, often sacrificing their own well-being and relationships to attend to the king's needs, no matter how trivial or demanding they may be. Forced labor extended beyond the confines of the palace as well. The king's influence reached far and wide, impacting individuals from all walks of life. Business owners, government officials, and even foreign diplomats found themselves entangled in the web of the king's exploitative practices. The king would wield his power to coerce individuals into fulfilling his personal agendas, leveraging their fear of retribution and the potential consequences of crossing him. These accounts of forced labor painted a picture of a monarch who saw those around him as mere pawns in his grand scheme. The concept of consent held no weight in the presence of the king's power, as individuals were coerced into servitude and manipulated into compliance. Moreover, the king's exploitative practices extended to financial matters as well. Survivors shared stories of extortion and embezzlement, revealing a king who used his position to accumulate vast wealth at the expense of others. Funds were misappropriated, businesses were coerced into providing financial support, and individuals were forced to surrender their assets under the guise of loyalty and duty. The king's reign of forced labor and exploitation left survivors scarred, physically, emotionally, and financially. Many found themselves trapped in a vicious cycle, unable to break free from the clutches of the king's control. The fear of reprisal and lack of viable alternatives kept them bound to a life of servitude, where their worth was reduced to fulfilling the desires of a tyrant. The stories of forced labor and exploitation underscored the urgent need for accountability and justice. As survivors shared their experiences, they not only shed light on the magnitude of the king's abuses, but also ignited a collective outcry for an end to the systemic oppression perpetrated by the monarchy. These narratives became powerful tools in dismantling the myth of the invincible king, exposing the human toll behind the opulent facade. The survivors' stories served as a reminder of the resilience of the human spirit, as they found the strength to break their silence and demand justice for themselves and countless others who had suffered under the weight of the king's exploitative rule. In the face of such revelations, the international community was confronted with a moral imperative to take action. Diplomatic efforts, economic sanctions, and international pressure became vital components in the fight against the king's abuses, signaling a collective commitment to stand against oppression and ensure that no individual should be subjected to such egregious exploitation. The stories of those forced and abused by the King of Thailand, Rama X, have shattered illusions and sparked a quest for justice. Their resilience in breaking the chains of silence has ignited a global outcry, demanding accountability for the unspeakable horrors endured. Click that subscribe button and be a part of the conversation. Don't forget to hit the notification bell to never miss a video. Subscribe today and expand your horizons with us.